Right, so in the last video we set up the login system. Now we're going to create a login page and actually get that fully working. I'm going to need to create a user to do this. At the moment we don't have the function on the website for the user creation. We kind of need a user to begin with. So I'm going to go ahead and create a dummy user. I'm just going to create a new database and a users collection for that database. The data that we're going to, I'm going to insert a new document on here, and I'll just zoom in a bit so you can see. I'm going to put a comma here. Email is going to be 123@123.com, and I'm using this website SHA-512 online just to generate me the hash for the password. So that's I'm just using a password of 123. And this will be the password hash that I'm going to use. So password is going to be that. So insert. So create that new user. I'm also going to add another field, and it's going to be a staff user. So I'm going to set that to true as well. Right. So that's my user created. Now we need an actual page for the staff member to log in with. So if you remembered in the last video, we set up this link to staff login. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to do a new file, a new folder in my root. So I'm going to call it staff. And in there, I'm going to create a login.jsx file. We're going to set up the login now. So we're going to do an export default function staff login. Okay. So that's written up. I'm going to bring this into the main. So we've got the root defined. So its path is going to be /staff/login, and the element is going to be staff login. Halfway through typing it, comes up as a suggestion. Use that suggestion so it imports it for me automatically in /code on there. So that should now be running. If I open that page, I should now be able to go to staff login, and it's just a blank page at the moment because we haven't returned anything. So that's fine for the minute. We're going to need some imports. We're going to import a bunch of React Bootstrap components. So we need a card, we need our columns, we need our containers, row, form, button, and alert from React Bootstrap. We need to import Axios. We need to import use cookies from React Cookie, to import use state from React, and finally import use navigate from React Router DOM as well. Cool. So just saving that to make sure it's not going to error when I try and run it. So we need a const for our cookies. Set cookies equals use cookies, and we define the cookies that we want to be able to access there. We're going to have a const called show. Set show, and it's going to be use state with a default value of false. We can have a const message. This will be the message that will get displayed when a login has been unsuccessful. It's just a default blank string there, and then finally const navigate is use navigate. All right. Let's get our screen showing first. or the actual web page first. So we're going to do a return. I just like to surround stuff in a set of empty brackets so I don't get problems later on. Container, and it's a fluid container. Fluid containers take up the whole screen. And you just want one row and one column. Alright, I'm going to start off with our alert box. So alert, there we go. And we're going to set show to show, that show variable that we've got. And the variant is going to be danger. Heading. So we'll have a, we'll do that, we'll do a kind of line, and then we'll do a button, put it in a div to move it to the right hand side. So its class name is going to be deflex justify content, and that moves it to the end. We can have a button, close me, and on click action, or set the show to false, and we'll make this a danger button. So that's not showing anything at the moment. If I flick back over and I set show to default to true, we should now have this login unsuccessful, which we do. So that's working fine. We'll set that to false. In fact, if I click that close me button, that alert now disappears as well. So I'm going to set that to false. There we go. Cool. So just beneath my alert, still within the column, we're going to add a card for the actual login form. So card.body, and our card.title is going to be login. Inside the card we'll have a form. On submit is going to be submit login. That's going to be red underlined for the minute because we haven't created it. That's fine. We're going to do a form.group, and a form.label, email address, a form.control, put a slash at the end. Its type is going to be email, and the placeholder text is going to be enter email. There we go. Submit login is not defined. That's fine. I'm just going to quickly scroll up and define that so I can check what's going on as we write it. Submit login. It's going to take an event, and with it, it will do some stuff. There we go. So that should now, there we go. We have our thing. Let's define, so we'll do class name. Is going to be email, and we can do name as email too. I'm just going to copy this because we want a very similar one, but for the password. So password, and I'm going to copy this around here as well. Enter password. There we go. And finally, we want last one is going to be a button. Its variant is going to be submit, and the type will be submit to. And there we go. So our form's now created. Sorry, variant is primary, not submit. There we go, that's why it was a wrong color. So we are submitting and it's not doing anything quite yet, which is fine. So to get at the moment, when we click submit, it kind of like refreshes the page. You might be able to see that. It's refreshing the page, so we need to stop that. Do event.prevent default, and that prevents it from refreshing the page now when I click. We're going to get the email, so we do var email equals event.target 0.value. So when this event takes place, when someone clicks submit, the data from this form here is being added into this event variable. Okay, event.target is saying get the form. The bracket 0 is saying the first control or the first input of that form. All right, we're going to do this again. We're going to do var password is going to be event.target 1.value. All right, so that gets the password, and because the password's the second one, it's index 1. I'll show you. So we'll do console.log that event. 123 at 123.com, 123. I'm going to click submit and we'll check the console log. So the event, we can see this target, looks at the form, and then we can get the values here. Okay, the target 0, the 0th thing of the target gives me the value of the email address, gives me the value of the password field there. You can get other stuff on here like the action, so on and so forth, but we're not worried about that. We're just worried about these ones. Technically, the button as well has a thing. We can get the button, but the button doesn't have a value, so that doesn't really matter too much. So with that, we want to send that to the server. So we can do axios.post because it's a post request. If we remember back in our auth index, this is a post request. So do axios.post. We're going to http://localhost 3000/auth. We do a comma, and now this is the data that we're passing through. So it appears in the body. We're passing through that email and password. But then takes the response back from the server, and with the response, we can say if res.data.token isn't undefined, i.e. has been set, we can set our cookies. So set cookie, just change that back to set cookie singular. Set cookie, we're setting the token to res.data.token. Token, there we go. And then we'll do navigate, and we'll redirect them to /staff. Else, we know that if that hasn't been successful, so if the token's not set, we know they haven't been logged in properly. So we can set message as res.data.message and set show to be true. All right, so let's run that and see what happens. Good. So my cookie's been set. I can go into my application, cookies, and I can see that my cookie has been set there. If I can go back to the login and I enter some incorrect details, it should, there we go, username and or password are incorrect. It should say back to me what's wrong with what I've entered there. All right, cool, works. We get a staff page set up, so we'll do that now. So in the staff index, or in the staff folder, we'll create a new file called index.jsx. So this is the staff index. In here, we're going to do an export default function staff index. Okay. With our staff index, we need to import some bits. So we need to import button, we need card, col, container, row, and tables, double. And we also need to import use effect and use state from React. We need to import Axios too. Not going to use those quite yet. We're just going to get the general kind of layout set up for this page. So we're going to return something, and we're going to return a container, which is going to include a row and a column within that row. We're going to use a card, which is going to have a card dot body. The card title is going to be create new response. Card.text is going to have a style of text align center, American spelling of center there. Close tag, and we're going to have a button in here. The href for the button is going to be /staff/response. Its class name is going to be button btn-lg for large button large, and its width we can do w100, which sets its width to 100. I'll show you what that looks like in a second. Its variant is going to be success, and we're going to put create new response in here. Beneath this, we'll have another row and another column. And this is going to be this is going to show all of our responses for the minute. This is just going to be a table, and with a t head, with a tr and th, response id. I want 4 columns there. We can do site, status, and then view there. So that's the page generally created. We're going to sort out the rest of the table later on when we have some responses to show. In our main JSX on the front end, we're going to define this page that we just created. So we can say the path for /staff is going to be the element staff index. There we go. That's in there now. So this is a large button. It's now centered here. So at the moment, if I don't have that cookie, if I remove my token, I can still load this page, and we don't want that to take place. The easiest way to apply this to all pages without having to rewrite the same bit of code is to do it within the navigation bar. So we're going to do that now. In our source folder, so backing out of our roots, in our source folder, I'm going to create a new folder called components. So this is where we can put our reusable components in here. I'm going to create a new file called staff navigation bar.jsx. Inside of here, we're going to export a default function named staff navigation bar. That is going to import container and container nav bar nav and nav drop down, all from React Bootstrap. We need to import use effect and use state. We need to import our use cookies. Sorry. We need to import Axios and finally import use navigate as well. Cool. I'm going to quickly jump back onto the root staff index.jsx and we're going to import it into here. So we're going to do staff navigation bar. Just aware that I hit enter to import it in up here, so it does appear. So the component is up there. At the moment I'm not logged in, so in a minute when I do some little bits of code, it should kick me back to the login page. So my staff nav bar, I'm going to do const me set me is use state, and it's going to be a empty object. We need our cookies, so const cookies set cookie, and that's going to be use cookies, and we're using the token here. I'm going to do const loaded, const loaded set loaded, and that's going to be a use state with the default value of false, and finally we need our navigate. Alright, I'm going to do an if loaded. We're going to display something. I'm just going to copy this in because it's going to be a lot quicker than me just typing it out. So let me just set that to, so this is going to be, I'm just going to adjust some bits here. We can do, it's secure limited. Settings, we don't need, we can leave that signed in as me.name. It's going to be /staff/response for that. Cool, that'll work. Oh, /staff. Yeah, we'll go with that. That's not going to show for the minute. If I tab over to it, it's nothing showing there, just because this loaded is still false. So let's sort that out. We need to create a use effect. With that use effect, it's going to do the following. This use effect also depends upon, so we add a dependency list in here, cookies.token, navigate, and set cookie. Actually, we don't need the set cookie one, my bad. We're going to do an axios.get because we're getting data from the server. We're going to http:/localhost 3000/users/@me. We're going to pass through a headers, and it's going to be an authorization header. The date is going to be bearer, and then we do plus cookies.token. res.then, we take the response from that request, then we can set me as res.data and set loaded to be true. If there's an error, so we can do dot error or dot catch, sorry, we can catch the error, and with that error we can say if the error dot response dot data dot logged. Have I done this right? Sorry, I forgot the arrow bit there. Dot logged in is false. We can navigate to /staff/login. Okay, so if I refresh, oh, actually it's done it for me. So if I go to staff now, because there's nothing in my cookies, let me set that to responsive and just maximize it. Because there's nothing in my cookies at the moment, if I go to /staff, it's just automatically logging me out. If I go to log in correctly, so that's showing it's undefined at the minute. We're going to change that. So I'm going to go into my database, and on my user, I'm going to edit them. I'm going to set their name to be my name, update it, and refresh the page, and there we go. We can see us signed in as myself, and we have these. We have this nav bar at the top.